It's the Point After Show with the Cajun Cannon Bobby Hebert on the Community Coffee Saints Radio Network. Hebert, you couldn't really script it out better in the first half, other than the interception. Other than that, it was about as flawless a first half as you can get
in Saints history
for the Saints.
Maybe
Man, you look at it, the interception was the negative part, but man, this team was rolling, and defensively, they got it done when they needed to. And again, that big stop on fourth down, Marshawn Lattimore's INT for a score, seal the deal.
Yeah, that iced the game. Mike, I don't know if I've ever witnessed. I'm looking in the first half. The Eagles, now they ended up, you always want to have 65 plays or more. So the Saints had 66. They had 53. They had 17 in the first half because all them damn 3-and-outs. They had 17 plays and a half. Sometimes you can have a 17-play drive. And, when you brought this up, you can see why we said the tone. We basically had the ball almost a whole quarter more, like 14 minutes more than the Eagles. And this is the Eagles who a lot of people think, when all said and done, might end up representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. But the Saints look like they belong. That was no mirage, what was happening and how they were setting the tone. You might say, oh, well, they didn't have Jalen Hurts. Does Jalen Hurts play defense? I mean, he doesn't play defense. All I know is the ball wasn't hitting the ground, whether it was Andy Dalton throwing or Taysom Hill. Like, what were we, like 14 or 14 at one time? It was unbelievable. And when you look at the bottom line, we converting.
That was different in the second half.
Yeah.
But in the first half, it was one first down, third down conversion after another for first down.
Well, the third quarter, that was the low, but it is the NFL. Come on. But if you look at it now, and Philly has not been, the city of Philadelphia, I should say, has not been kind to the Saints. In regular season games played there, we were 3-11. Well, now we 4-11, and we lost the last three games at Lincoln Financial Field. So now it's not 4 in a row. Mike, we broke that trend. So I think that's a big feather in our cap. It goes to show you, too, who you were playing and what they've accomplished. Because, I like records. Like, for instance, Cam Jordan. What I think of city champ Ricky Jackson. To break that record for number of sacks, Mike, that doesn't happen by accident. You know what? You have to be available to be held accountable. So when all said and done, that when you look at now, Cam Jordan's 115.5 sacks surpasses franchise record by Ricky Jackson. Total sacks, he now has 8.5 for the season. And just now to be on the sack total, I like records also. The Eagles have 67 sacks right now. Mike, in this day and age, if you like high 40s or low 50s, you're definitely in the top 5. I'd say low 50s, you might be leading. But this year, the Eagles have now recorded 67 sacks. They've had now 5 games in a row with 6 or more sacks. And then they have 4 players now with double-digit sacks. Hassan Reddick has 16. You look at Josh Sweat. That's the guy who got hurt. He has 11. And then you got Javen Hargrove with 11. Brandon Graham with 11. It just goes to show you who they were playing against. And then you look in the NFL season, Mike, against the Giants, I don't know. If they get 6, they're going to break their record. If they would tie the record with 5, you'd have to go back to the NFL season record of 72 back in 1984 when the Bears, when that was established. So, Mike, how many games do you see? This might be a whole month when you see 13 sacks in a game. Okay, we had 6, but they had 7. You just don't see that. Now, you might see maybe 6 combined or maybe 7 combined, but 13 sacks in one game. That definitely caught my attention when that occurred. Now, the one thing that to show you how efficient the Saints were, who was the number 1 third down offense? Now, you might say, again, Jalen Hurts wasn't playing, but I'm just saying it's the offensive scheme. The number 1, I should say that number 1, number 3, top 5. Number 3 in the league on third down offense was the Eagles. Mike, they were 3 of 12, 25%.
That's El Succo in the sleeve.
Outstanding by our defense. I give our defense credit on third down, and you know what? Also, they were 0 for 2 on fourth down. Mike, okay, okay, we're going for it. We're going to make it. They made it against other teams, not against the Saints defense today. They were 0 for 2 on fourth down and 3 of 12, 25% on third down. Now, I don't know if I've ever witnessed this in a while, because usually it would be a yard difference. The exact total yards, we both had 313 yards.
That is an unusual stat.
313 and 300. You were talking about parity. I mean, that's parity right there. But looking at that sack total, but Mike, I'll say, come on, we got to be on that plus side, at least even. Well, we got even with Marshawn Lattimore, the big interception. The turnover margin was 0 for the game. Now we still minus 12 for the season. Now, if Andy Dalton does not throw that interception in all counts, that's when Andy almost, if somehow, Mike, if he just takes the check down maybe to Juwan Johnson right then, I think we get at least a field goal. And if Dennis Allen had been more aggressive, I thought instead of being up 13-0, we could have been up 20-0 or 16-0 at halftime. But when I look how that was unfolding in the second quarter, and Andy Dalton basically could have been perfect instead of, because we were forcing 3 and outs instead of all of a sudden, having that interception right before the half. Now, go ahead.
Yeah, Bob, diamond in the rough performance of the game presented by Friend and Company. You have a friend in the jewelry business. To me, it's Rashid Shaheed. 6 catches, 79 yards.
And 6 targets. He doesn't drop the ball. Okay,
no,
when do you
doesn't.
see Rashid Shaheed? I want somebody to tell me, Mike, he caught one punt. I don't know how he caught it over his head.
Almost like a basketball pass that went over the top of
his hands are smooth as silk. He catches everything. Now, I wish Juwan Johnson would catch everything. Mike, that was critical in the back end.
No, because Bobby caught 5 passes for 62 yards, but he had a pass hit him. That would have been an additional 12, 13 yards, and an additional catch.
And it'd been like, instead of long yardage, it'd have been 3rd and short. And when I say it was on the second down when that play occurred, I have to look at my notes closer.
Yeah, it would have been a second down.
Yeah,
second down.
Those are the kind of catches, the plays, or I should say, that you have to make. Penalties. I mean, they were calling a bunch of penalties on the Eagles because they had to. They could have called maybe even like to reach 10. They had 8 for 49 yards. We only had 3 for 20. Seems like they were jumping off sides about every third play, like a legal procedure. And even I think Deuce is going crazy. Even they were missing some.
And to have Kelsey do it at center, who's one of the elite centers in the NFL, he not only did it once, twice.
Was he having a brain fart?
I don't know. It was not a great game for Kelsey.
No, Mike. But I thought overall, you look at that crew. Now they did a Saints game earlier for us, that being Bogart. When you look at it, Mike, he did. I got it right here in my notes. He did our game against the Cardinals, and he called. This shows you maybe the fix. I don't know. This will be the first time that he officiated the Eagles game, but he had called the Cardinals game, and he threw 8 flags against us. Today we had his crew 3 flags for 20 yards. So that to me, that's nothing. Now 11 seems like a lot, but the Eagles deserve to have those penalties when all said and done.
And so many false starts, and you could see the almost miscombobulation between the offensive line and the quarterback, but they practice every day.
No, it wasn't like Gardner Minshew just came to the team. He's been practicing with them. It's a different cadence, different quarterback. No, they've been around him. I don't know. The Eagles thought maybe they could just show up and beat the Saints, and they got humbled. Now, I think they bounced back after halftime in the third quarter, but the Saints closed out the game on them. Now, and it's a shame that Carolina was in control and beating Tampa Bay, and then they laid an egg at the end.
But I give Carolina a lot of credit. Man, Steve Wilkes had that team ready to play. They had a lead. Now, somebody got to cover Mike Evans. Come on, you can't let Mike Evans be the guy to beat you. Yeah. But the one thing when you watch Carolina play, other than one game down the stretch, they played hard for Steve Wilkes.
Yeah, they have played hard. That's why, Mike, I think, you want to end on a high note. We want to end on a, Mike, we beat Carolina. We have a 4-game winning streak. Now, think about it. We're going to have to pack a lunch. We're going to have to come to play because I think right now the Saints are playing hard for Dennis Allen and Carolina's playing hard for Steve Wilkes. So I think that the final game of the season is going to be entertaining. Now, the one thing, the combination of Andy Dalton and Taysom Hill. Again, I've always said this. Taysom Hill needs to have his whole category for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He's even rushing the punter to try and block it maybe. He's in punt return. He's a quarterback. He's a receiver. He's a runner. We ran the play, the same play 5 times in a row. The power QB off tackle, and the Eagles knew it was coming, and they
didn't stop it.
They could not stop it, and we ran out the clock. This is the kind of game that maybe I'd want a little more, but this is the kind of production. Look at every game. What are you getting? Total yards from scrimmage from Kamara and Taysom Hill. Well, Kamara ended up having 81 total yards. Taysom Hill had 79 for 160. So I would like that number to be more like 180 plus. Okay, when we're at 160. So that's a good note. But Kamara averaged 4.6 yards a carry. I think there's 2 games in a row. Kamara's running hard against the Browns and Eagles. That's outstanding. Again, you brought up Rashid Shaheed. Chris Olave got off to a fast start, 4 catches, 42 yards. But I'm going to leave with this as we go on to break. And it hasn't been necessarily his best season, but a good enough season to finally get recognized going to Pro Bowl because he's already been All-Pro and he led the team in tackles. Demario Davis.
Yep.
Do you know Demario Davis, with his 7 tackles, he needed 6 to get to 100. Now he got 101 total. 6 straight seasons, he's had 100-plus tackles. How do you get 100-plus tackles 6 straight seasons? You got to be available. You got to be playing, and you're not hurt. Demario Davis and Cam Jordan, don't you count on them that they always playing?
No, they warriors.
They always playing.
They are
They're not
football warriors.
Are they going to play this month? No, good for Demario Davis. 6 straight seasons. He's now at 101 total tackles. So game ball. And then when we come back from the break, I want to bring up also Carl Granderson.
Yes.
My God, what he's done back-to-back games now. A big impact. And I'm going to go on with Caden Ellis. But, we'll talk about that when we come back from the break.
We'll have more here of The Point After with Bobby Hebert on the Community Coffee New Orleans Saints Radio Network.